I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. We turn now to page 6 in the Grade 4 Discovering Music Theory workbook, and we continue with the topic of rhythm, and we look now at converting from compound time to simple time and vice versa. And we're going to be looking at the application of triplets and duplets in that context. And before we get kind of entrenched in the exercise, let's just think about this for a moment, because it's a very simple topic once you get to grips with the fact that simple time divides by 2, compound time, everything divides by 3. So in simple time, we have a crotchet, which divides into 2 quavers. In compound time, we have a dotted crotchet, which divides into 3 quavers. And so when we're converting, we've either got to squish 3 into the time of 2, or if we're converting from simple to compound, we've got to stretch 2 into the time of 3. And that's where triplets and duplets will do the job for us. And the only other thing we need to do is consider whether we add or remove a dot. Are we stretching the time, or do we need to shrink the time? And so it really is as simple as that. So when we're in simple time, a group of 3 must be squished into a time of 2, so we use a triplet. That's 3 squished into the time of 2. And then when we're going the other way, we need to stretch a group of 2 into the time of 3. And it really is just as simple as that, and we just either add or remove a dot when we've just got a single unit here. So let's look at that in practice here. So exercise 9, we need to show are these correct or incorrect conversions, as it were. So both of these are in duple time, because this has got to be 2 crotchet beats per bar. This has got to be 2 dotted crotchet beats per bar. And so here we have 3 quaver beats, and here they are 3 squished into the time of 2. Here we have 2 quaver beats, and so here we need to stretch 2 in the time of 3. Previously, what we'd have expected to do would have been to add a dot, but there's no need to do that because this does the job for us, and so that's entirely correct. We'll perhaps look at one more, and then perhaps you can just press pause and try the remainder. It's much better, even if you get it wrong, don't worry about that. Now's the time to make mistakes and to learn by those mistakes. And I know that I always say it, however, it's so very important. It's much better to be brave and just jump in and have a go. Always work in pencil. You can erase it out if it doesn't pan out so great, but that's really how you learn. Much better than just by passively copying, because you'll kind of get it and then you'll just forget it again. So do be brave. So if you feel like, then just press pause. If not, on the next exercise or so, then just kind of, once you've had a little bit more of a guidance, then just go for it. So here we're in quadruple time, and it's 4 crotchet beats per bar. Here we're still in quadruple time, but it's 4 dotted crotchet beats per bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is 4 groups of 2. And so we can see that we've had to squish 3 into the time of 2. But let's have a look at this. So this is a group of 2 that needs stretching, that's correct. However, here we have a group of 3, and that's not right, because what they've done, they've made one note longer and then one note shorter, whereas they should be equal in value, and so they've actually recomposed it, and it's not our position to do that. We can't change the composer's intention. What it should be is quaver, quaver with a duplet and just stretch it, and that way they're equal. Here they're not equal. It is correct to remove the triplet, and it is correct to add a dot, but this one is wrong. They've actually changed it. Instead of being 2 equal value notes that have been just sort of stretched, they've changed it for a long and a short, so that's incorrect. We can't change the composition at all. Exercise C is triple time. We have 3 crotchet beats per bar, and so here we're going to have 3 dotted crotchet beats per bar. So we're stretching from 2, a group of 2, into a group of 3 each time. And so here we would have a dot. Here we don't need the triplet because we're not squishing it. We can have the group of 3. And then here the group of 2 needs stretching into the time of 3, which is what this duplet does. That's exactly correct. Let's look at exercise D. A little bit busier now, but the principle just stays the same, and now we're going the other way round. Here we have 4 dotted crochet beats, 12/8 is quadruple compound, and then we've got to squish it to 4 crochet beats, so we've got to shrink the time. So here's our first group of 3, which is squished into the time of 2 with a triplet, because we can see there's 3 quaver beats, which are shrunk into the time of 2 quaver beats. Here, this duplet is no longer needed because we don't need to stretch it into the time of 3. We don't need the duplet, we remove that, just as we'd remove the dots. No need for the duplet there, no need for the dot. So just as we'd remove a dot, we can remove the duplet sign, and that's entirely correct. And so if you haven't done so already, I do strongly recommend that you just try this last few on your own. And now we can check through these together. So again, we're going from compound to simple. We're going from groups of 3 to groups of 2, 3 quaver beats to 2 quaver beats. This is duple compound. This is duple simple. And so we've got to shrink or squish the time. So we're going to need to remove the dot. And then here's our group of 3 quaver beats that we're going to need to squish with a triplet. So what's happened here? So they've removed the dot, that's correct, but there's no triplet sign. This is just an exact copy. And so that's incorrect. And so here we are, we're in 3 dotted crochet beats per bar. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to 3 crochet beats per bar. So we've got to squish the time, and so we'll either remove a dot, remove a duplet, or add a triplet to squish. So here we've got 2 stretched into the time of 3. No need to stretch, that can go, so that's correct. Now here we have 3 quaver beats, which have been squished into the time of 2 quaver beats. That's what a triplet does. And then here we've got 1, 2, 3 quaver beats squished into the time of 2. That's exactly correct. And then finally, we're back to simple time. Crochet beats to dotted crochet beats to compound time. There are 4 crochet beats to 4 dotted crochet beats. They're both in quadruple time. And so we're going to have to stretch. And so the way we would do that, here's our first group of 2 that we'd stretch by adding a dot. Here's our second group of 2, which we would have to have a duplet sign. to stretch 2 into the time of 3. Here's our next group. This is 3 in the time of 2. So what we'd do is we'd remove that triplet sign because there's no need to squish it. We just literally want that group of 3, and then we'd have to add a dot to stretch this crochet beat into a dotted crochet beat. What have we got? Well, there's no dot, so that's wrong. This is incorrectly beamed. There's our next group, which should be dupleted. Is that a word? Dupleted. And then this is beamed incorrectly. There's our next group of 3 that should have no triplet. And then we should have a dot. And actually, that doesn't belong there at all. There's no rest at all. So that's wrong. Very, very wrong. However, that's exercise 9 completed. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons, you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.